think I found the new king of backpacking stoves. For me anyway. Let me show you what I've got. So over the last 18 months or so, I've kind of switched over from, you know, the canister stoves that just screw directly onto the canister, to remote canister stoves like the Kavia Spider and the MSR Wind Pro 2. I find that they've given me, you know, a lower centre of gravity, more stability so I can put bigger pots on, and more simmer control as well, because I've been doing a lot more cooking really. And they've done great for me, don't get me wrong. And I thought that they were perfect until this one came along. The pot doesn't come as part of the system. I will talk about this separately in another video because this is great as well. This is the stove we're talking about. It is the Soto Fusion Trek. So a few people have suggested this stove to me, and I've kind of overlooked it because it didn't have, or doesn't have, a preheat tube like the MSR Wind Pro and the Kavia Spider. So I kind of dismissed this as not being very good in colder weather. So here it is in its folded down state. It's as simple as just pulling these feet and arms out, and that's it, job done. It gives you a really stable platform to put your pots and pans on, and look at the size of that burner. So there's around 300 holes inside there, and it's got, you can see the lip on there as well. That gives the flame plenty of protection from the wind. I had noticed that in certain conditions, the Kavia Spider and the MSR Wind Pro 2, it does suffer in the wind, so you do have to have a windshield around it. Also, the height from the bottom of the pot to the burner, yeah, that is quite low, so it doesn't give the wind a lot of chance to, you know, to disperse the flame. So this stove's been designed to be able to use with pretty much any brand of gas that you've got, as long as it's got this Lindahl valve on there. So these are pretty universal to a lot of different gas manufacturers. But Soto said it doesn't matter whether you're using butane, whether you're using propane, isobutane, this stove will work fine. Can you hear it roar? Let's get a boil going. Not doing any timings or anything like that today, but get it cracked up to the full. So this stove has got an output of 11,000 BTUs when it's turned up to full anyway, which means it'll boil this water really quickly. In fact, look at the bubbles already. Starting to get some action on the bottom of the pot. You've got to bear in mind the Kavia Spider that I've been using has got an output of around 5,500 I think, so this is double that. The MSR Wind Pro is about 7,000 BTUs, but it does pump up a little bit when you invert the gas canister, which you can't do on this one. But this does have a built-in micro regulator in here, which means that you can use this stove in really cold conditions and it will keep a constant pressure to the burner. And also, even when the gas canister pressure is running really low, it will maintain pressure till it's empty. I probably should have timed it, but I don't really bother about that anymore. Sometimes I want things, I need extra heat, usually for searing steaks and stuff like that. But you can see how hot these arms are getting, look, starting to glow on the end. So even though it's not very windy today, well, there we go, raging. Yeah, so even though it's not very windy today, I would still need the windshield with my MSR Wind Pro, and definitely the Kavia Spider, if I wanted it to boil anywhere near a reasonable time anyway. But the beauty of this stove for me is not just about how powerful it is, it's how gentle it is too, how good it is at simmering. If I wanted to just boil water, I'd have something like an MSR reactor or a jet boil. So it isn't incredibly cold today, it's about 5 degrees at the moment. Gas canisters. Alright, I find also as well, another tip is use the bigger gas canisters. They tend to hold pressure better for longer. Although they do weigh a little bit more, don't they? This is quite a beefy stove. That burner head is around probably 2 inches in diameter, loads bigger than some of the other stoves that I've got. So it's really good for, you know, distributing the heat at the bottom of a pan. You might have noticed that when you're cooking with a stove that's got a really small burner head, sometimes you get like a hot spot right in the middle that in that just with burnt food. So something that can spread the flame out a little bit more also distributes the heat a little bit better. Obviously you've got to pair that up with a good pot or pan as well. If you're using titanium, then you're in trouble anyway. You're not going to be cooking porridge or scrambled eggs or anything without it sticking to your pot. I suppose I'd better address a couple of the downsides of the stove. So as you can see, it is quite bulky. So if you're ultralighting and you just want to boil water, then this is probably overkill for you. And it does weigh 182 grams, I think it is. That is without the stuff sack that comes with it. And if you're looking at something like a BRS 3000, I think that weighs about 28 grams or something. So this is, I don't know, you do the maths. But you can definitely do so much more with this than you can with the BRS 3000. So like I said earlier, I've been doing a lot of real cooking, and that is where this comes into its own. That's the boiling bit out of the way. Let's test out the simmer function with some porridge. Had it right the first time. So I'm going to be having my porridge. So these are just rolled oats, none of that pre-made stuff, with whole milk. And we all know that milk is one of those things that you do need to be able to simmer with, otherwise it's just going to stick and burn to your pot. I need a bit more milk in there, I think. How do you like your porridge? You know, so it sticks to you, or do you like it runny and sloppy? Why is it called oatmeal in other parts of the world? Right, let's fire that up. Oh, there we go. We are lit. You might have also noticed it doesn't come with a built-in igniter, so you do need some kind of lighter. But I'm going to turn this down to basically, can you see that? You probably can't even see it, but it is a really, really low simmer. And then you can fire it up, and then suddenly you've got a rocket ship. Let's get that moving. Because it's milk, I am going to keep an eye on it as well. I've gone for the big oats today. Right, I don't mind having the heat turned up a little bit, just till we get, you know, the milk starting to just come up to a boil. As long as I keep stirring, everything will be alright, especially with this ceramic pot. But I've used this now, I've had it about 4 weeks. I've done omelettes with it, done scrambled eggs with it, done pancakes using the fire maple frying pan. Just testing on the kitchen worktop at home. Like, I do like to get to know a product a bit before I take it camping with me anyway. Right, that milk is starting to get a bit warmer now, so we'll turn that down to, so you can do it by sound. You can hear when it's, yeah, just a little flame now. And then just let that simmer away now. Little tiny bubbles popping up, look, you see them? Don't know if you've noticed, but it's quiet for a stove that roars as well. Just let me show you again. Turn it up fully. Considering that's full blast, it is fairly quiet anyway. Let's get it back to simmer again. This is a cooking beast. So because of that lip around the burner, even when the stove's incredibly low, it's protected from that bit of wind. And this is, it's so sturdy. You know, you could put a full-size wok on this and it hold up just fine. I haven't mentioned the price yet, so I paid $79.99 for this. So it's not the cheapest stove, but it's 182 grams and it is as good as some of the hob rings on our oven at home. It is the closest I've come to anyway in this size package to the hob that we've got at home. Do proper cooking on it. It's by far the best stove that I've used yet when it comes to simmer control. When you think about it, most backpacking stoves are predominantly used for boiling water. You can hardly see that flame, but it's still there, it's still going. According to the specs, it's really efficient as well. I've not tested it, but one of these size gas canisters will last you an hour and a half. Now I don't know if that is at full whack, because I'd imagine on this setting, I've got it on a minute, it'll last a lot longer than that. Because it's basically, it's not much bigger than a candle flame. I reckon that that is done. Goldilocks would be all over this. Ooh, that's just right. I don't think I'd get the part though, do you? Right, gas off. Tuck in. Now that hits the spot. Look at that. Proper puts hairs on your chest, that. Not on your head. Just what I wanted. See if I can do this one-handed. Just show you the pot. Yeah, there's nothing burnt on there. I will show you once it's washed up in a minute, or once I've eaten this. The temperature control on it's really, really good. Time to wash up. Use that water again. Another thing about this is you can light it when the pot's on. Washing up, it's dead easy this way. It's bubbling again already, look. Whoa! Whoa. Thought I lost you, boy. It's because there's a bit of milk in there. Look at that, that's a simmer. I haven't brought a rag with me, so got to get as much as I can with just the water. Schoolboy error. I'll give it a proper wipe when I get home. A few little straggly bits there, look, that just rub off, but as you can see, bottom is pristine. It's been off a minute. Still feels a little bit warm, so leave that to sit for a minute or two. Just chill out for a little bit. Before I pack the stove away, I just want to show you the tube that goes from the burner to the canister. It is really flexible, which I like that. Some of them are, you might notice, they're really stiff, and it's sort of like when you move it, wants to tip your stove over all the time. This is just, you know, you can move it wherever you want to move it, and it doesn't impact your stove at all. Packing the stove is really easy. Just unscrew the regulator from the canister. So this is where all of the magic happens, in this little micro regulator here. So Soto's a Japanese company, as you probably know. Japan makes them they really lead the way when it comes to engineering and continuous improvement, all of that kind of stuff. They set the standard really. There's no exception when it comes to this stove either. Fantastic bit of kit. And just to put the cherry on the cake, it fits in my pot perfectly. I do have the little plastic cup with it as well, which helps protects that bottom. You do have to make sure it's in the right way. I think the burner head's down to the bottom. Just take that out. That's that way. No wonder I can't get it out, pushing the wrong way. That clips on nicely. And there's virtually no rattle there. Perfect. There's no room for my gas canister in here, but there's room in my pack. So that was the Soto Fusion Trek backpacking stove. As you can probably tell, I'm smitten. Absolutely love it. You're going to be seeing an awful lot of that stove. You've got to bear in mind as well though, I have got a bit of a stove addiction, haven't I? And I can genuinely say I think it is a do-it-all stove. You know, if you want to boil water fast, it's perfect. If you want to cook and simmer delicate items, it's perfect. Fortunately, this will never happen, but if I could only keep one stove, it would be in the mix. Definitely in the top 3 of all stoves that I've ever used, never mind got still today. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of the Soto Fusion Trek. If you've got one, tell everyone how good it is, or if you've got one and you don't like it, tell everyone how bad it is. I love it, and that's all that matters to me.